Start over.
All right, here we go. Okay, well, at least we were listening to everything. You don't have to start over.
Are you sure?
Yeah, well, she's gonna get this.
Yeah, she's gonna
I
get
can
all right.
remember half of it.
All right, so flat roof needs to be replaced, some chip tile. So this is what I refer to as a valley. So it's this valley back here where that leak is occurring. So
Okay.
easy enough fix though. Like I said, I mean, if we weren't scurrying through the attic, you wouldn't know it for a very long time. It's not dripped on the insulation or anything like that. There's one support, vertical support in there in the roof section that is just crooked and bowed. It's probably going to snap at some point. It would be a good idea to have that redone. Those aren't really a main support. Those are more put there when they're building the house to kind of keep things in line as they're going. But you know, it's there. It is serving a purpose. It should be replaced just for stability purposes. Roofing contractor could potentially do that for you too. The same guy that's going to do the roof, or they could have a general contractor come out. It's not a structural issue that needs an engineer. There's some gaps at the walls where the ductwork comes through in the garage. You want to just seal those up with spray foam just to keep rats from getting in if they come into the garage. These are just outside photos of the home. I'm just going to pass through these. They're just overall photos for the insurance forms. Some cracked and damaged driveway area. It's just kind of settled and moved. There's from soil erosion underneath. Fix it as you feel the need. AC system is newer. It's from 2016. That's the manufacturer year there. It is a 3-ton heat pump system. It's using the new refrigerant, so it's well within its useful life expectancy. I will go over the performance when I get to those numbers for you. So this is what's called a cold joint crack. You and I kind of talked about it briefly. It's really not a structural crack. It's more just two walls where they meet, where they were built separately, and it just kind of moves. These are very common. It's not really in need of a structural engineer to come out and repair. If you want one to come out, they're just going to tell you to fill it with hydraulic cement or even just caulk it and move on with life. It's more or less just to keep bugs and water out at that joint now. But it's a block wall, block joint. They're very common. So it's nothing that is showing significant issues with the home or the foundation or anything like that. It's just literally where they built that section separately. So those joints expand and contract differently because it wasn't all done at once. So I would recommend just honestly repair it and monitor it more than anything else. There's some staining on some of the soffit panels. This is because you don't have gutters on the house, so the water just kind of runs off and goes underneath. So adding gutters would be a good idea on this house. The only drainage is at the pool enclosure. Those have the small gutters on them, and there's just a downspout that's draining straight down. It should have some sort of diverter elbow just to get water away from the foundation. There's one fastener missing in the screen enclosure. I took this picture expecting to find more, but there's one. If you want to put a bolt in there, that's fine. It's still attached really well everywhere else. One screen is really just loose at the seam, so that's over in the left side. Just needs to be resecured, reattached. So more staining on the soffits, once again, same thing, just from water runoff. And then there is a piece of drip edge missing. The roofer that's going to do a flat roof can just replace this piece of drip edge at the left-hand side of the home. Main water shutoff is at the front exterior wall, however the handle is missing, so we cannot operate the shutoff. This is an old gate valve, which is the kind you got to turn about 100 times to get them to work on and off. I would recommend just replacing it, have a plumber come out and put a quarter-turn ball valve. They're so much easier. That way, if there's a plumbing issue in the house, somebody can just go out there and quarter-turn instead of trying to get this one to shut off. So that's something that should be repaired. You do still have access to the meter, which everybody does, which is where the water company would turn it off if you didn't pay the bill kind of deal. So you can turn it off out there as well, and that's what the plumber will have to do in order to replace that. Here's just a photo of the garage door. It's an old outswing type door. These doors are typically replaced just because personal and property damage can occur when they're open. This doesn't have an automatic opener attached to it, so it would be manual only. Believe it or not, some insurance companies frown upon these types of doors because they've had to pay claims on people's cars and things like that.
Right.
So, it's not something that they really focus on too much, but they might get a call down the road, hey, you need to replace your garage door. So we recommend you replace it with a roll-up type garage door anyways, just for, the property.
And do you think you could put a garage door opener?
Yeah, you can.
With the way it's built?
Yeah, they would just drop a support down from the roof and attach it to that. Yeah, there shouldn't be an issue at all. Pool equipment, overall in good condition. So there is a heater for the pool as well.
Do we know if that works?
Yep, it sure does. I got pictures of that. You're jumping ahead.
Sorry.
Jumping ahead. Salt system is no longer in service though. They've got it unplugged and the controller is just all deteriorated. So there was a salt system, chlorine generator on there at one time, but it's no longer active. So that whole system would need to be replaced if they want to go that route. There is a pretty significant leak at one of the connections here at the pool equipment. So this is where that salt cell is. This is the plumbing. This is leaking pretty good. I mean, it's got a constant drip while the system is on. So that definitely needs to be fixed. The pump didn't have full prime, so this basket should be full. The water pressure should be completely full in there.
I called the realtor and asked about that because I just got a new pool pump for my pool, so I know when it looks bad. And they said they have it on a half flow or
That,
something?
that's fine, but I turned it all the way up and it doesn't work, okay?
Oh,
So
okay.
they can say what they want. I put it on the
Okay, I
highest speed
gotcha.
possible, so what it usually means is the filter is clogged or there's a clog in the line somewhere. It was circulating really good. The pressure on the filter canister was over 20, which is high, so it's probably a clogged filter. So it could be just a maintenance issue. A lot of times when you're losing water at a leak like that's at that piping as well, you can lose some of the pressure too because it's pushing water out of that area. So, but I know what they were trying to say is it's a variable speed pump, so it has a low, it has 4 different settings. I turned it all the way up and it doesn't make a difference. It still doesn't have prime.
Yeah.
So, but it's not usually a major concern. It's typically a clogged filter or the leaks are causing it to lose some pressure too. So overall photo of the pool light worked, the spa light did not. The pool surface, the spa worked. There's a blower system for the spa, so I took a photo of that. There's your heater working, so water temperature heating, and it's heating the pool. Pool surface is wore out. It's going to need to be resurfaced in the very near future. Is it swimmable? Yes. Does it need to be resurfaced? Yes. This isn't something that I would wait too many more months or years for that sake, because it's got a lot of wear all over the walls and floors. No bare spots to where I'm seeing bare concrete yet, but it's definitely something that needs to be done in the near future. The spa light didn't work, as I already mentioned. And then the button to turn the spa blower on and off does not work. So I had to just use the breaker. So when you turn the
Oh,
breaker
I see,
on, it's
okay.
on. When you turn the breaker off, it's off. This button is supposed to control that spa blower motor, but it's just breaker controlled only. Water heater is old. It's from 2001, so it's considered to be nearing the end of its
Ooh,
useful
yes.
life expectancy. Some would say it's already past its useful life expectancy. It's 19 years old. It provided hot
God, I
water
can't
today.
believe it
but-
lasted that long.
Yeah, we see them 40 years old sometimes
Really?
still working. Yeah, so we list them at 15 to 20 years of being aged. So no matter what, budget for replacement in the near future. With water heaters, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's providing hot water. The tested pressure valve on the unit, though, is required to have a 3/4 inch pipe that runs down to within 6 inches of the floor. So that's an easy fix. They sell them prefabbed at Home Depot that you can buy for about $10. Underneath the utility sink out there, it's a utility sink, but this flexible garbage will get clogged and people always put stuff in the drains out there. So that should be replaced with solid PVC. And there's no real faucet. They've got washer hookups basically for faucet out there at that sink. So put a normal faucet as you feel the need. Panel was updated at some point. It's 200 amp service. They had it labeled properly. They did use different brand breakers in this panel, which is very strange because this is a newer panel and it's a GE, and GE breakers are readily available. Does it hurt anything that they're different brand breakers? Not really, but the panel manufacturers say it's got to be our breakers and our panels in order for it to be a warranty or know that it's perfectly 100% safe. I have no issues with anything inside the panel. There was no signs of arcing, burning, melting wires, anything out of place, but I make note of the different brand breakers in there because you never know if an electrician's buying the house and they're going to go, hey, it needs to have all GE
Right.
breakers in it. So a professional electrician did this install. I could just tell by the quality of work, but they just probably had some different breakers that they were putting in because they needed different sizes at the time and didn't have the specific ones with them. There is no dedicated outlet for this wall unit out there. Typically, anytime there's an AC system or wall unit in the garage or any other rooms, it should have a dedicated outlet. These aren't something we test, but I wouldn't be able to anyways because I couldn't plug it in. They were probably using an extension cord to another outlet. But just FYI for you guys. If there's
Can that come out in the window?
Oh yeah. Well, you'd have to put a window in there.
You have to put a window,
Yeah, you'd
okay.
have to put a window in there for sure. But, air handler, second component of the AC system, is straight out of the garage looking up. It does match the outside unit. It's from 2016, so all is good there. AC splits, I measure the temperature of the air going into the system, temperature coming out. This is how we tell the performance of the system. It must be a minimum of 14 degrees to ensure it's cooling properly. Had 74 at the return, 58 at the supply, so 16 degrees, it's working fine. Normal AC maintenance once a year, keep it working. Inside the home, not a whole lot to talk about. There are some 2-prong outlets. If you're familiar with a 2-prong outlet, it's missing this hole here. So it looks just like that. So you can't plug in your 3-prong devices. Very common for a home this era to have 2-prong outlets. They're just not grounded. And if they're swapped out, they're supposed to be swapped out with GFCI protected outlets. We had a few outlets that were hot and neutral reverse. The 3-prong outlets, that means the hot and neutral wires are backwards on the outlet. So that's a safety issue that needs to be corrected. Whoever installed the outlet, sometimes they just, oops, and put the wires on backwards. So that's in the front left bedroom, there's one, and then in the center left bedroom, there's actually 2, this one here and this one here. Those are reverse polarity as well. Underneath the hall bathroom sink, there are no shutoffs, or any valves are supposed to have shutoffs underneath the sinks. And then this should also be replaced. This is that older metal stuff, and they've sealed it, so you can't even take this apart right now. So the P-trap should always be removable. The shower diverter is going bad, so a lot of water still pours out of the tub spout when the shower is on, decreasing the shower head pressure, replacing the fixtures too. Improved caulk and grout in the bathroom shower as well. It's an older shower, so you're gonna have a lot of failing grout. Another hot neutral reverse outlet, and that's the one that's in the hall bathroom as well. Let's see, some cracked tiles at that entryway over there, going across, probably just when they laid the tiles, they shifted since then. And that's a plumbing photo. So we've got some water coming from underneath the toilet to this back wall. So it's actually wet right now, and then there's water actually in the corner here. So that toilet needs to be probably just replaced. That way you get all new parts too, so you're not worrying too much about anything else with the toilet.
Now, how difficult would it be to rip that sink out over there and put a new sink?
Wouldn't be hard. I mean, once again, it just depends on how much money you want to spend, what kind of remodeling you want to do. They get torn out all the time. I mean,
Right, I
they're
was
older
gonna say,
things,
'cause
so
it's so not worth
yeah, it's
doing
not
anything
hard
else
to
with
do.
it.
We did open the plumbing access there. Everything was fine for the tub and shower, and then we found out the water was coming from under the toilet. So easy enough repair. Bedroom photo, kitchen sink photo, nothing there. A lot of the cabinets out here are just delaminating, the covering starting to peel on it. It's cosmetic damage, but if you can glue it back together. A lot of people use super glue. No GFCI outlets in the kitchen or the bathrooms. Those need to be installed where they're not currently. And for the garage, no fire door as well entering from the garage. Typically, you want a fire door just for fire separation into the home. They didn't have them, of course, when this house was built, but this house has been remodeled, so there should have one. That's really about it, guys. So, got some things, not end of the world stuff, but there's definitely some things that are going to need immediate attention. The flat roof has to be done. The roof leak has to be fixed. So those are things that are going to prevent insurance from happening. So I know Darren will get on that stuff for you. He'll get with the listing agent because they're going to have to repair it for you or for somebody else. So
What about the wires, the outlet wires? that are-
that's something that, it's an easy enough fix. He'll put that on the repair addendum. An
Yeah.
electrician will come in and fix that stuff. That's not a big deal. That's not a thing for the insurance.
You do like red flag, yellow flag?
Not really. I
You
put stuff in a general
okay.
summary. He'll decide for you what you guys
Okay,
consider.
okay.
Well, you guys decide what you consider a red flag, then he'll tell you if it really is. But the
Okay.
red flag things, in Florida when buying a home, it's kind of an as-is thing, which Darren will talk more to you about. But anything that's a safety issue or that can prevent you from getting insurance are items that sellers typically will take care of. So the roof not being in the condition to get insurance, it has to be replaced, and then the electrical stuff, which is considered any electrical issues are considered a hazard, but that's nothing to fix. An electrician will come in here and be done in no time.
Yeah, so many times the electrician will come in. The electrical things are really easy.
Super simple.
The only thing that I really notice, because the plumbing, no big deal,
Nope.
electrical, no big deal, the termite thing, not a huge deal. The only thing that I'm really seeing is the flat roof in the pool.
Yeah, and the leak on the tile roof, which is
Which
is
When you say cool, you mean like the button that doesn't
No, the
turn?
remark siding of it.
Just the website, because then she'd still have to fix, the pool light on the sauna doesn't work, and the button for it
Yeah,
doesn't work.
but you can use the pool without a pool light. You can use the hot tub without the button working. That's like getting your oil changed compared to having to get a new engine. So the pool needs to be
The pool needs to be
remarked.
reversed.
And then if you're gonna re-marsite it, you're gonna empty out and do all that, you might as well get the light done.
Yes.
And you might as well get the button fixed.
Yes.
So that should be something that should be all of what they're gonna be doing. Okay, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, if they're gonna
Be
re-
recommended.
Just know you can ask, but they can always say no.
Yes, like,
Just remember that.
yes, well, I would rather ask and they say no.
Oh, you can ask for
than
everything.
at all.
You can ask for everything.
Yeah.
Be prepared to hear a lot of no. But the
Depends how
roof,
much you wanna sell the house.
that's right,
and
but the
for what
roof
price.
will have to be done. That's
Yeah.
for sure. That's for y'all to decide. I'll get the reports typed up. I'll have them emailed out over this evening. The only thing that's gonna be on the insurance form that will ding it, it's not really a pass-fail thing, but I can tell you right now, the roof has to be done. So we've talked about that a million times already. So once the roof is completed, they will send me photos. I can update the 4-point from that. Just make sure you get me 2 photos of the completed roofs. They can send me photos of that. I can update the 4-point, and then those can be sent back out for the insurance. So they'll
Okay.
tell you what the insurance is gonna be. They won't bind the policy until everything is shipshape on that.
Now, does anybody come back out and re-inspect the work that's done? No.
Because it's licensed
They
contractors
just
that
have to
do it.
provide the,
Correct.
they.
Has to be done by licensed contractors. They can't have, the handyman come put a roof on the house. So in his repair addendum, it will literally read flat roof to be replaced by licensed roofing contractor, documentation to be provided. So they'll provide, it's gonna be under warranty, so you'll get a warranty from the roofing company, and then they'll send the photos of the completed work over to us.
I gotcha.
They'll send them to Darren, he'll send them to me, and then that way I can update the form for you. There's no need for anybody to come back out. They're professionals that get inspected by the city,
I see.
and then the work is completed by a licensed professional under warranty. So
Oh, okay,
easy as that.
okay.
Super duper simple, so. All right?
Okay, well, awesome, thank
Yeah, no
you.
problem.
I'm like sore,
Yeah.
my neck, ugh.